Gucci's heiress, Alexandra, has sued her own family. She claims that her stepfather inappropriately touched her from the age of 6 until she reached 22 years old, and her mother and grandmother helped her stepfather hide the abuse. Now, Alexandra is standing up for children against brands like Gucci and Balenciaga. So let's get into it. There's a clip that's going viral on the internet, and it has to do with the Balenciaga situation. If you guys did not know, Balenciaga, Gucci, Alexander McQueen, and Saint Laurent are all owned by the same company called Kering. And this company, Kering, is backed by some very powerful families. One of those families is the Gucci family, and Alexandra is the great-granddaughter of Guccio Gucci, who's the founder of the brand. She actually ended up suing 3 of her family members and has been exposing them online.
My name is Alexandra Zarini. I am filing a lawsuit against my stepfather, mother, grandmother, and others because I was sexually abused by my stepfather, Joseph Ruffalo, from the age of 6 years old.
So let's talk a little bit about her pervy stepfather. His name is Joseph, and honestly, I couldn't find much about him on the internet, which I was surprised about, but we do know that he's her stepfather, and he allegedly harmed her for 16 years. From the age of 6 to 22, he assaulted his stepdaughter.
My mother, Patricia Gucci, and grandmother, Bruna Palombo, did not protect me. They did not shield me. They allowed it to happen. But I am coming forward publicly today because as hard as this is for me, I feel it is my duty to expose the misconceptions about child sexual abuse and to raise awareness that every single day, we as a society are failing to protect the most vulnerable and innocent among us.
So in 2020, Alexandra sues her family, and she's calling out Gucci and Balenciaga publicly. As you guys know, Balenciaga has found themselves in a lot of trouble because they did a campaign with children and inappropriate items, and the people who orchestrated this campaign are also creeps. If you guys have not seen my previous video, definitely go and check those out. What's really disgusting about Alexandra's situation is that she believes her mother, Patricia Gucci, worked with her stepfather to conceal this inappropriate relationship that her stepfather had with her from the ages 6 to 22. I can't find much about the suit nowadays. I don't know if it's sealed or if it's in another country, so that's why nobody's really talking about it, or if the media is working together to protect these brands, because honestly, up until this Balenciaga situation, the media continues to protect these brands and protect what they're doing to these children. Alexandra said if this suit moves forward, and it will if something is not done to stop it, damage will extend beyond the obvious, and issues could arise that would seriously affect your entire estate. She wrote this in an email. There is a tax issue you may feel free from, but that is definitely not the case. And it seems like she's calling them out for like some tax fraud or something else. And she's also kind of threatening them that like, if this goes to court, not only are you going to account for what you did to me as a child, but we're going to bring up your business doings because there's some tax issues. Alexandra said, I always suspected Joseph was holding something over my mother in exchange for her silence, which I can't imagine being a mother and watching your daughter be like abused like this and agreeing to be silent about it. But she claims that her father, so I guess her grandfather, went to prison for tax evasion. It has become clear to me that her fear of facing the same fate may have guided her decision to stay quiet. So she feels like her mother is being threatened by Joseph now, and that like I guess Joseph would put her mother in jail for tax evasion. Nonetheless, this clip is going viral and so many of you guys have asked me to react to it. So let's go ahead and react to the entire clip itself.
Our children. If you think this doesn't happen here in Beverly Hills, then you should know that my perpetrator still lives in California, spends time at the Bel Air Country Club, and volunteers in your children's hospitals. This is not something that only happens to other families in other neighborhoods or other countries. It is everywhere and happens to children in all countries, all states, all ethnic backgrounds, and all neighborhoods. I'm also speaking out because when I was abused and sexually assaulted, I had no one to protect me. no one to save me, and no one who did anything about it. This is far too common. There needs to be accountability for those people who look away and who don't stop child sexual abuse from happening. That inaction is costing us lives and robbing children of their future. Once children have been abused, they will struggle to come forward because they believe they will be judged. But it is the perpetrators and those who protect them that need to be judged, not the survivors.
Oh, I have to say, this is so powerful. And the fact that she's part of this big family, like the Gucci family, she's speaking out against this. Like, I wonder what type of backlash she's gotten, because I feel like the elites will like blacklist you if you are, speaking about them in this way. And that's who she's talking about. But also it happens everywhere, like the Balenciaga photo shoot.
Myself included, will tell you that this is one of the worst things that can happen to you. You lose your childhood, and you fight against the painful legacy abuse leaves with you your entire life. In my late teens and early 20s, I experimented with drugs for a couple of years to help deal with the memories and the trauma of my abuse. It took me many years to become more grounded in who I was, and in some ways, I am one of the lucky ones. Talking about what happened to me saved my life. Without that communication, I would have been another statistic. A child who gets abused will have to live with this trauma their whole life. The average age a survivor comes forward is 52 years old. That is 34 years from the time they turn 18 to the time they are able to speak up about it. Statistically, there are as many as 50 million Americans today who have been through this abuse, and many suffering in silence. If you are a celebrity, influencer, actor, politician, musician, educator, or a mother like me, or a father like my husband, fighting child sexual abuse needs to be your cause too. If you are in a position to raise awareness and help to protect just one child with your actions, then I'm asking you, emphatically, do whatever you can. I will both financially and personally commit as much as I can to this cause, and have started a charitable foundation which has one clear mission: to end child sexual abuse, and which will benefit from any award from this lawsuit. There are already so many courageous and bold survivors and advocates out there, and I plan to spend the next few months reaching out to a broad range of existing organizations to see what the needs are and what the gaps are to determine how our foundation can help. But I already know the most important step starts with all of us talking about the crisis of child sexual abuse out loud. We all have a responsibility to use our platforms, our voices, and our resources to protect our children.
It's wild to think that this was like a couple years ago, because it's so relevant today with what's happened. Imagine if more people in those powerful situations put out messages like that. I feel like people would understand the severity of this, and it could scare the people who are committing acts like this to stop, because they ultimately will be caught. And it seems like Alexandra has stuck to her promise. I mean, she's continuing to work on this charity. I mean, today she's been posting a ton about this video that's been going viral because everybody's sharing it, as they should. And I really wish it got the recognition when she first put it out, but I'm so glad the internet recycles things like this, because that message was so important. And it looks like the website is up, and like they've got a whole team of people working on this. So I think it's really great. And I wonder how the rest of the family feels, because Joseph wasn't ever charged. Keep in mind, her mother and her grandmother were supposedly involved in keeping this secret. So I can't imagine the relationship that Alexandra now has with them. Maybe not a relationship at all, but at least she's got her own family, her own children, her own husband, and she's working on a very important cause. So I will actually list her website below and her Instagram if you guys would like to check it out. Here's my email if you have any other video ideas for me, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.